everybody, welcome to another episode of Ask Dr. Wu. Today we're going to talk about something that I get asked about like a million times. It generally happens, these questions start to crop up generally in the springtime and also in the fall, which is I get a frantic email or text message or a phone call from a parent that says, Dr. Wu, my son or daughter was diagnosed with Sever's disease. Is there anything that we can do about it? Like, what can we do about it? What is this? Okay, so everybody just needs to take a deep breath. Just kind of let it go there. Sever's disease is kind of like a misnomer. It's not a disease. Most doctors will explain Sever's disease as there is inflammation in the growth plate, or there's something going on with the growth plate. And no, there's nothing wrong with your growth plate. They can't see it in the x-ray. There's no Sever's disease, is, I don't know. To me, it's just kind of a dumb description of basically what I would like to call it is a tendinitis of the Achilles tendon. That's really what it is. Generally, it's pain in and around the heel. It also can be described as pain in like kind of the Achilles tendon. And, doctors that don't necessarily really understand athletics or would understand what athletes have to go through, will just call it Sever's disease, and they'll just say, okay, let's just boot it, which is the worst fucking thing that you can do for that ankle. Or they'll say just rest for 6 to 8 weeks. Now, I work with athletes, and I am empathetic to the point with coaches and with athletes as to sometimes you cannot afford to take 6 to 8 weeks off. Now, is this a serious thing? No. Generally, I can get rid of it pretty quickly. Usually if you're an athlete, young in age, I can pretty much get rid of it in like 3 visits. Now, I always say that there's, everybody's different, but as a general rule, pretty much 3 visits. Sever's disease usually happens, with athletes that are going from ages 8 to around 14. And they happen equally to boys and girls. I get it in my gymnasts all the time, and I get it in my soccer kids all the time. And generally, the basic reason is it's because there's a growth phase going on. And also, there's 2 reasons. There's a growth spurt, and generally, there's an increase in intensity in their sport. So, 8 to 14, generally you're going to have a growth spurt. Your bones are going to grow faster than your muscles, and your muscles are trying to catch up to that. When your muscles are trying to catch up to that, it creates increased tension, and mostly in your gastroc and soleus muscle. Your gastroc and soleus muscle are connected to your Achilles tendon. Your Achilles tendon is connected to your Achilles, or your calcaneus, which is your heel. Generally, with that, what's happening is your bone is longer than your muscle. It creates stiffness, which creates a lot of strain at the insertion point of your Achilles, which causes you to have pain in and around the heel. The second thing is generally there's a huge increase in intensity. So, with my gymnast in and around that time, which is, the spring and into the summer, they're going into national season. And they're training way harder than they generally train. And so the capacity of the gastroc and the soleus can't handle what you're doing in training. Also, I find is that they're not doing enough maintenance. So here's just a quick test. Test your child, see if they have Sever's or they have that pain in their heel part. See if their gastroc or their calf muscle is really tight. And how I check this is, does their knee go past their big toe 4 fingers? Can they go 4 fingers past the toe? I promise you, if you have Sever's disease, I don't even want to call it Sever's disease. Let's just call it what it is, which is Achilles tendinitis. If they have Achilles tendinitis in their heel, they will not be able to go past their toes 4 fingers. And then the other thing is, I bet you that they just don't have enough muscular endurance in their calf. When they don't have muscular endurance in their calf, they tend to have a lot of like, you know, tendon issues. They have a lot of connective tissue issues. And so I bet you that that's usually the case. What can we do? There's tons of things we can do. We can stretch out that area, decrease the stiffness, acupuncture, dry needle into that region. We're just trying to get more blood into that region. It's an easy case. Honestly, if you're a parent out there with a child that has, you know, Achilles tendonitis, or your doctor has told you that they had Sever's disease, and I hope you saw that huge eye roll. They don't, and it's completely healable, and it's easy to get rid of. You just have to find a therapist that knows what they're doing. So, hopefully that's cleared up the biggest bane of my existence, which is Sever's disease. If you want more information, you have more questions specifically about your son or daughter, and they have this heel pain, please don't hesitate to give me a call, text me, get me on social media, which is right here, and move free, humans.